Oh, because she signed him those.
I got a black one, you need it?
Let me see how it looks.
Like a felt pen.
I will do it for you. I don't know, let me see what you ink I like. Let's see which one looks better. All right, so it is 6 o'clock, so
It is now 6 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and open this meeting. I have asked Commissioner Green to lead us in prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance from the Vice Mayor.
Father God, we thank you for this day on today. Lord, we thank you for blessing us, our city, our country, God, in the name of Jesus. We don't take it for granted for all the many wonderful blessings that you have blessed us with. And we ask you right now to continue to surround us with your love, surround us with your protection. And we ask you now to bless us as we've come together tonight for this meeting, and that we ask that your will be done in this place on tonight. And we thank you for those that volunteer their services, Lord, to come and to help make the right decisions for our city. And we thank you for those that are even in government everywhere, that are serving our country and that are serving their local municipalities. We thank you. We thank you for the men and women that are serving in our armed forces. We pray your continued protection over them. Those that are in law enforcement, we pray that you will continue to protect, God, as they protect us and serve. And we thank you for all these things in your Son's name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, do we have a motion to excuse Commissioner Hope?
So moved. That's it.
All right, don't forget your microphone. We had a motion by Commissioner White and a second by Vice Mayor.
Okay.
Any discussion on the motion? No. Public discussion on the motion? Seeing none, let's go to a vote. All in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Motion carries 4-0. All right, additions or deletions to the agenda?
Not from the staff, Mayor.
Okay. Adoption of the current agenda.
I will move to adopt the agenda.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner White and a second by Commissioner Green. Any commissioner discussion on the motion? All right, at this time, my discussion on the adoption of the agenda, we see that it's an update on the audit and discuss internal issues. The past 3 meetings have seemed like attacks, and that is not what we want here in the city. So I wanted to say that before going into this meeting. Nobody wants to be attacked. There are things, and none of us are perfect. So I will not be a part of attacking anyone. If there's a problem or we think that something is going on, let's deal with it, move on. We've already said that we were giving our city manager another year. In the process of that, we all need to figure out how we are moving forward with it. None of us are perfect, none of us, because there are so many things that we can complain about. So I don't want to be a part of that. I'm not going down the rabbit hole with anyone because personally and frankly, it feels more personal than it feels like it's a city issue. So that's my discussion. I am happy to do what we need to do, but we need to stay on task, and it needs to be about what we need to do to move forward. The other thing is, this has been bothering me since the meeting, because if we continue the way we're going, and whether we fire Tony or Tony leaves, people watch our meeting. It's going to be very hard to get a manager, because nobody's going to want to come to the city of Archer, because when they don't like what you do, they put you on under attack. So that's not the reputation that I want for this city. Now, I'm only one person. The rest of you might like that, but me, I'm not into the drama. I'm not into causing chaos. I'm not into stopping the progress that we already have going forward, because that's the other part of it. We need to move forward, point blank. So that's my sentiments. You guys may feel differently.
Sounds good to me. Madam Mayor, sounds good to me.
Yes, ma'am.
I feel like I know who that was thrown at, and I'm good with that.
You,
However,
I didn't understand that.
it's not worth repeating.
Oh, okay.
However, I'm going on record as saying I'm not after Tony's job. I'm not after anyone's job.
Okay.
I want this city taken care of, plain and simple.
So do I.
I want this city taken care of financially, number one. Number two, I want to know, and I think Tony's last email to us speaks for itself,
To,
to the commission, at what's been accomplished in the last month. Things that I have asked for and others have asked for up to 2 years are finally getting accomplished. Now, if that means me blowing my top and it feels like I'm attacking you, well, I apologize. What I want is the job done and it done right. And part of it's on us, and that's why I called the meeting tonight, is because this is on us. Our policy is confusing and it needs some clarification. Now, if Tony can't do his job, then I'll be the first to stand up here and say, I want a vote of confidence. I have not done that yet and don't intend to anytime in the near future. However, I want the job done.
yes, ma'am, and I can speak for myself. I want the jobs done as well, but there is always a right way and a wrong way to go about things, and I just want it to be clear that that is not what I want the city to look like. So that's the reason I think we're all here, because we do want what is best for the city, and we want things to get accomplished. But, yes, ma'am. Any other discussion? Commissioner discussion? All right, public discussion on the motion, and you have 3 minutes. On the adoption of the agenda. No, you're good. All right, seeing none, let's go to a vote on the motion. All in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. Motion carries 4-0. All right, so now It is public comment. You have 3 minutes. So, hold on, Ms. Costello, before you come. I want to remind everyone of what I said last week, not last week, last meeting, which was about 2 weeks ago, which is we are not going to do all of the extra commenting from out there in the audience. If you have something to say, you need to hold it to yourself until you come to this podium. When you come to the podium, you have 3 minutes, please. The other thing that we're not going to continue to do is continue to go back and forth and answer questions in those 3 minutes. You come up, you have your 3 minutes, you say what you need to say, and then we will say what we need to say. All right? Thank you. Come on.
Lori Costello, citizen. For one thing, what you just said, I don't understand I didn't even understand what you said, because I didn't see anybody attacking anybody, whether it be citizen or commissioner. Sorry, I haven't seen that. And if I have a problem with one of you or the manager, I will come up and state. And I would expect you to hear me out, whether you like it or not, because basically that's what y'all get paid for. Okay, so what you said, I don't understand. But okay, so I would like to know how many employees are getting paid for tonight's meeting.
Tony, how many employees are getting paid?
3.
Three? Okay. I had asked the attorney several months ago about an update on the resolution or the ordinance about the R2 getting changed where you can allow mobile homes, but I haven't heard anything back.
We can provide you an update after the meeting.
Okay, thank you. I have some communication issues that I just, might be helpful for everybody. But Commissioner Green, I had texted you several weeks ago regarding a question on the water fund. I didn't get an answer back. I don't know whether you got that or not. It was on June 11th. Okay, you might want to look that up and maybe respond to me.
I don't think I saw that.
Okay, well, if you don't, I can certainly send it again.
Okay.
Okay.
She got 1 minute, so let her
Commissioner
finish.
Penny, first of all, I want to thank you for answering me when I did text you. And the question was, what % of raise did the staff get? And you said that they didn't get any. Well, I didn't know it at the time, but I found a piece of paper in black and white that showed that they got between a 3% and 7% raise. So I don't know if there's any other commissioners that didn't know how much staff got in raises or anything, but I thought that I would put that out there so that everybody knows. Okay. Mr. Hammond, I'm still waiting on the travel voucher receipts, agendas, and an acknowledgement that you received my second public records request. It was 4 days ago and I never got an
All
acknowledgement.
right, so Ms. Costello, that's your 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I just checked my phone. Ms. Costello, I don't have one from you. On June 11th. I don't. No.
Okay, I'll send it again.
So if I don't respond, do like you normally do, just call me. That means I didn't see it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's not in my phone.
So I will say this, and I don't need your response. It was clear that you did hear me and you did understand what I was saying. Thank you. And not one time did I say that you were actually attacking, I said, as a whole, it feels like an attack, and it did. It felt like an attack on Tony. It feels like an attack on anybody that is associated. And whether you agree with it or not, I don't care. That's what it feels like sitting here, and that's what I said, and that's what I mean, and we're not doing it. Thank you. Anybody else?
John Hanchey, resident. And Madam Mayor, you and I had spoke on this, probably a month ago, 2 or 3 meetings ago, and it was on the oversight by the commissioners that was done in the past and then done away with, and you didn't really know why, because it was before you, and so we asked the attorney, and she said she thought it might be some dual employee management thing, but she didn't know. And I thought she was gonna go research that, and we haven't heard back.
Was it Danielle?
Yeah,
Or, okay, and I missed and deleted your time, but we'll start over.
but anyway, so I just wanted to bring that back, so maybe we could get an answer for the next meeting or something.
I can email her or text her because she's out of the country right now. Yeah, but I can
Lucky
definitely.
her.
Lucky her, yeah.
Yep.
All right,
And then I just wanted to echo, I'm really proud of Commissioner White for stepping up and digging these things. And I know sometimes I can be blunt, but one of the biggest compliments I got over my years as a manager was, if you want to know the truth, go ask Don, but be prepared, you may not like the answer. And my take is if someone's doing their job, I'll be the best manager they ever had. If you're not doing your job, I'll fire you. So if we have people that aren't doing their job, they need to go. If they're doing their job, great.
yes, sir.
That's all I had to say.
And I do agree. Thank you.
Good evening, Roberta Lopez.
Good
The
evening.
first thing I wanted to say is that I got a hold of some public records requests. I received these, and I'm gonna pass them around so you can look at this. I'd like to have those back. Those are checks that were sent to me, and I can't read anything on it. I just think it's unacceptable. I was trying to add up all those checks, and I can't make it out unless and I'm not totally blind. The only other thing I gotta say is when I came back here in 2023 in February, I found all kinds of things that was wrong. And I brought my ideas and suggestions to everyone, and I was completely ignored.
I got them in email.
So, as far as respect is concerned, we need to, you have to give it in order to get it. So that's what I experienced. But I do want you to look at that because it's no use for us to get anything back when we order public records that looks like that.
Thank you.
And if you have to go to, back to the bank and tell them to send it back, because as far as I'm concerned, that is not a public record. And all I have to do is tell my attorney that it's not.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Do we need to make copies of this, Kristen? She wants hers back, so do we need to make a copy for the records?
That was in the email. Did you get the email from her or no?
Very clear in the beginning that I wanted
Don't
to
know, I haven't seen it today.
Oh, okay. Because I saw those checks in the email from her, and it said that commissioners were blind copied.
Okay, I may have it.
Everybody have that, and you also have another email that was sent with a whole lot of, smeared out writing like in the contract that I could not make out. This is not the only one,
Oh,
this
yeah, I
is the
did see
worst
that
one.
one, I didn't see that one.
Well, they're in your computer, and I wanna know, all I wanna know is, what you intend to do about it, attorney.
So there's a requirement that we keep public records. There's not necessarily a requirement that every line on every one of them has to be completely readable. I mean, there is some leeway in the public records law for reasonable maintenance issues regarding the scanning and care for electronic documents. So I don't think that there's anything we can do about those because those are the
bank.
documents that we have.
So you can't go back to the bank and get this corrected?
I don't believe that that's available, but we
Probably
can look
not.
into it.
Probably not, and especially the
So I
ones of
really,
2019.
I really would like for you to look into this, because I can't make out, I wanted to know what the amounts are on these checks in order to find out what I need to know, and I cannot read. Could you read it? Nope, I don't think so. So if you don't mind, please look into this. And also another document that I got, and I think I did it to all of you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
those documents weren't made by the bank. Those were made here in office, I'm sure, because the checks, we should have the checks. And I have seen some of those checks
I'm gonna give it to
that we get each
you.
month.
Y'all can have it.
I have a
And we
copy.
can
You
read
can
it.
ask for
Those
it. I can
we
give it
can.
to you. That's
Read
from
it.
the statement from the bank.
You can have
Well-
those copies, I can get it out.
Miss Roberta, thank you. Have a seat. Thank you.
Wait a minute.
Miss Lopez, we're not gonna keep doing this. You can have a seat, or you can leave. Thank you.
That's being rude.
Cindy Thomas, employee. This is the other copy she's been referencing. This is the actual copy. You can pass it around. This is the back of the printed paper. It's not
From the bank?
No, this is from
From-
Sunbelt. But from the bank, it's
Oh.
a statement.
Okay.
And it does print, every statement has the check amount and the date it was cashed below it. Printed in legible.
Okay. Anyone else? No? All right, then let's move on. You want that? We're going to new business. Agenda item 1, update on the audit and discuss internal issues.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
I spoke with Kirsten this afternoon. I haven't spoken to Danielle, but she was supposed to try to get with the auditor to let him know that what we were asking for. I tried to call Caleb after I talked to you. Caleb is running, he's got a deadline of June the 30th, and he's been really busy. So he asked that we talk to him next week. And
After July. First.
Yeah. And I told him that's fine, I'd get with him sometime next week. So we have no update on the audit as of yet. And other than, I do have one thing, since I'm talking about the audit, that I'm asking if y'all want to add it to it or not, along with the other. And it would be the travel. There are some issues with travel that we have found so far. And
Do you mind saying what the issues were with travel? Or no? What?
well, I would prefer the auditor find it, and then it's
Okay.
not me attacking anyone.
Perfect. That works for me.
That's good. So, now, it's up to y'all if y'all want to ask him to see how much that's gonna cost us also.
Okay.
Because what we've got going to him right now is the regular audit will include the credit cards, the fuel bill, and he'll also look at the bills to see how many are past due. We're asking him to look at timesheets and contractual obligations. Now, along with that, we can put the travel.
Okay. Go ahead.
So if we're looking at credit cards, wouldn't the travel be on the credit card?
Depends.
It might be on the credit cards, but it's not. The state has, we go with what the state is for the, did you clarify that for me, Kirsten? So we go with what the state recommends for travel, for food, lodging, and gas. We have it We have breakfast that cost $39. We've got a dinner, one dinner that was $174. We have rented vehicles. We have tickets to different places. And, I mean, I don't know what of that is included and what should be and what shouldn't be. So, but I know that some of it is just exorbitant.
Okay, so I do know, and I wasn't, I went to one of the breakfasts at one of the conferences, and it was very expensive. And I was gonna say that, at the last league meeting that they had on Tuesday, I meant to tell you, Tony, that even though I was going, I was not gonna go to the breakfast, because the breakfasts are way too much, and it's not, and it's not a whole lot of food. I mean, it's not worth the amount that you have to pay, but that is the conference thing. Yeah, so those are expensive. So I do know that you probably do have some of those on there, because that's what they are. And I hate it, because when I look at it, I'm thinking the same thing. That's a lot. But yeah.
And as long as we've got the receipts and all to go along with them, and the auditor can look at them and say, that's for one person, one meal.
Now, most of the time when Tony and I both go, it's for both of ours.
But it'll say two guests.
It depends on how
They're usually charged to the room,
Yes.
to her room or to my room.
Because I know one time all three of us ate dinner together.
Okay, well, like I said, there should be some type of receipt showing that it's for
But-
meals.
It's listed under each room, it'll have whether it's breakfast or lunch or dinner.
Yeah.
It does, unless it's that conference thing, because when it's the conference breakfast or luncheon, it's under conference. So, yeah, it may not be the same receipt, but that's, if you want to look at those, that's fine with me.
Yes,
I don't have a problem
I'm
with it.
one commissioner, and I'm just
Yeah,
saying, I
good.
found that, and it looked odd to me, and
Yeah,
and,
because the breakfast that they have in, I'm not going in August, but they usually run $50.
Now,
And
yeah,
I
every
complain
year it's
because
going
we
up.
never have grits. So how you gonna have a
But-
breakfast with no grits?
But the thing about the breakfast at the one in August is that the league is paying for that. We are not paying for
okay.
that. So
This-
if you don't eat that with the league paying for it,
Right.
then
Then
you're gonna wind up paying for it out of your
Right.
pocket or out of the city's pocket.
Right, and that's,
well,
this,
the other thing is, if it's the three of you, if it was a dinner and the three of you ate together and it was 174, okay, fine. Then you're entitled to some, she's entitled to some, and he's entitled. But it's all coming under
under
one.
one.
So that's where, I mean, it needs to be clear that this is for whomever.
That's
And,
fine, yeah.
So, I mean, I don't have a problem with not taking it to the auditor and saying, let's clear it up.
I don't have a problem with taking it, because I know that when we go, and most of the time it's me and Tony, and then sometime, since Commissioner Green has been on, she's been there, and since Vice Mayor has been on a couple times, she's been there. So I definitely don't have a problem with it, because I know that those meals are very
If it
expensive.
goes to him, we can explain it, and I have no problem explaining it.
That's all I'm saying. It's, if that's what it is, I'm good with that. But it appears it's for one person.
No.
So, if we're gonna do it like that, then we need to make it clear. The receipts ought to come where it's for the three commissioners, or the three of you, or whatever. We also have a convention where there was a room, where there was motel rooms. The convention was for so many days, but the room was an extra day. It was over that morning, the convention was over that morning in Orlando, but they stayed an extra day. So,
If you're talking about this last one,
I don't know when it was. I can't
it's
tell you.
probably this last one, and if you go back and check the records, I paid Cindy back for that day because I checked out that morning and they would not give me credit for that day.
I don't know who it was, and I just, and I saw no credit, no
No,
credit.
they wouldn't give me a credit. They wouldn't give me credit because the conference, it was something in the contract with the conference that
For
you
that.
made reservations, you had to honor the reservations. I had a meeting that afternoon that got canceled, so I left that morning and they wouldn't give me credit. So when I got back, I paid Cindy with a check for that night.
That doesn't show up on what I got, so,
No, it wouldn't, because I had to give her a check for it. I've got the
Right.
check receipt in there.
and that's what I said. Then that's what that should go then with those receipts. Now, that's all, I mean, because
And
that's
we
what
could-
the
we-
auditor's gonna be looking at.
And that's fine, and I understand. And so at this point, what I am thinking is when we do, because there have been a couple times, Tony, that you've charged it to your room when we went down and eaten. But I think at this point, when we are at conferences, that we just need to go ahead and keep it separately so that it doesn't look
Exactly.
that way. I don't have a problem with it because I know that usually we're just trying to make it easy for whoever the waiter is, and because we know it's all coming from the same account, we're like, okay, we'll just charge it to such and such room. But we probably need to just make sure we get
And that's,
separate tickets.
that's good. And when you pay back, or whomever, I did see one where you paid back for something, a ticket, I think.
Probably, yeah.
And it was written right there on the invoice. So that's all I'm saying is if one of them pull that and they see it, I looked at it, it looked like it was for one person.
Right.
And I'm thinking that's a heck of a dinner.
And that makes sense if it's not written in there. So, I mean, I don't have a problem with it because I'm usually the one that is going with Tony, so I know what happened.
So if we do that and we set policy, and Kirsten, can we have as part of the policy that if you go on
Conference
to a
trip.
conference trip or you use city funds, that you have to bring a receipt back showing it,
Absolutely. That can be part of the policy.
each individual?
That can be part of the policy, absolutely.
So then we don't need to take that to the auditor.
I guess not. I mean, don't matter to me, but what do y'all think?
Well,
I mean,
he's gonna charge us for it, and that's the reason I'm coming to y'all tonight, is if we can get by without the charge, I don't want the charge. But I do think it needs to be made clear.
Yeah, but the average dinner or lunch, cause the meatball sub and chips and a drink, I think that was like $18.
It's now $39.
no,
That is for lunch.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
And then the average restaurant dinner is like $40. I didn't see.
nothing.
Yeah,
Correct.
you have to. Ain't nothing cheap there. Nothing.
Well, I'm not looking for cheap, I'm just saying let's stay within the guidelines that we have.
We can,
Madam Mayor, there was one time that I ate also, I think it was the three of us that ate together. So I think probably what will resolve that, if we ever have to do that again, just have the waiter or waitress just,
give each of us a ticket.
give each of us a ticket, because I know, I didn't have a credit card, so I think we all just went on Tony's, for the one. So if that's something we need to see itemized, I think that would resolve that, just to get the separate tickets.
I think so too.
It's gonna save us a lot of headaches.
Right. And I understand getting stuff itemized, I understand getting stuff itemized so that you can see, what is what it was, so
I do too.
I accept that.
I have to do that from my taxes.
So that's the only thing I had on the, audit.
Okay.
The other was, our policy is confusing to me, it's gotta be confusing to everybody else. Maybe not, maybe it's just me, but, and I understand that some of it's being taken care of right now. we were asking our employees to clock in. These are internal issues that don't need to go to the auditor. We were asking our employees to clock in on Wednesday morning. It used to be Tuesday evening. And they would get paid usually on Wednesday or Thursday, depending on, but they were guessing at what they were gonna work on Wednesday. Well,
Okay.
you don't know if you'll be called away. I'm sorry, Deanna. You don't know if you're gonna be called away on an emergency or anything else.
Right.
You can't work it.
Right.
So, and I've harped on this for about 3 years, but, I understand that now they're using a new app on their phones. It goes in on Wednesday afternoon, and they get paid on Thursday, unless their bank holds it till Friday. So, the problem is, and it comes down to when we hire somebody, we don't hold back any. We don't, most places will hold back a week's pay. We don't. They get paid automatically. And if you remember when you got on the commission, the first month you were on the commission, you hadn't even set yet, you got a check.
I don't remember that, but.
You do. You get paid before you start, and it's supposed to pay for that month. But then at the end of the month, you're gonna get a check too. Well, I mean, at the end of your term, you're gonna get a check too, for the month you worked.
Now you got, I'm gonna have to go back and look, because I actually do not remember
You
getting
got
the
a
check
check, I mean,
initially.
the second Monday of the month, and you got a check the first of the month. We all did. And that was because you would be setting half a meeting. You were sworn in that night, so you would be working half a meeting. And you'll be setting half a meeting the last meeting you attend, so you will get a check for that. So the thing is, we need to make policy, and I don't know how we're gonna do it, that if we get new employees, we can't do anything about the ones we've got. It'd be too much on them to ask them to do that. But I'm looking at you, Kirsten, that 1 or 2 weeks will be held back so that we're not paying early. That was one of the things the state got us for. And I know we've been paid, at Christmas, they were paid really early. So they were guessing at 3 and 4 days. So I don't want to get caught on that again.
So what are your suggestions?
Is new employees, we hold back
A week or 2 weeks or?
2 weeks, whatever. I mean, yeah, most people need their money, and if we could do it for a week, I'd say let's do it for a week, but I don't know. They would only get 1 week.
So we're talking about now staff and not
Yeah, staff.
the dais. You're talking
Yeah.
about
Yeah,
staff.
we're talking about staff.
So you're saying, if they clock in,
I think she's talking about a new person.
Policy is,
Yeah.
you clock out, that the pay period ends Wednesday evening,
okay,
when they clock out. They get paid on Thursday.
for that particular pay period?
For that week they just worked. For the week they just worked. Well, that's hard. It's
That
gotta
is.
be hard on Cindy. I mean, it's hard for anybody to, and what happens is, some banks, and I'm gonna use Scott as an example because I know, if she puts it in on this morning, Scott's will be in the bank by 3 o'clock. However, Justin's won't hit the bank until tomorrow.
Sometimes that's dependent on your banks.
Right.
That's what I said,
Yeah.
that's the bank. But, and that's not on Cindy, it's not on staff, it's on the bank. But our policy says you clock out, I mean, time's up on Wednesday, you get paid on Thursday.
For that particular period.
So, that can't happen without holding back pay. I mean, the only way that's gonna happen, and everybody, get it when they're supposed to, is for it to hold back a week, and then she can put the time in from the previous week on Wednesday.
So Commissioner White, are you suggesting that for, did you say, is that for all employees or for new employees? Because if you do it for new employees, I think you're gonna have a mess.
Well,
Because that's gonna confuse
it's gonna
the
be,
accountant. So unless you put everybody on that track,
you can't do it with them because you can't hold back. I mean, they're used to that check each week,
that's gonna be too confusing though,
and
I
I don't
think.
know how we're gonna do it. I mean,
And I think that's gonna be very confusing.
Yep, I was just calling you.
So even if I held back a week on them, it's still gonna roll around when the pay period ends. It's still gonna be the same thing, because it's pay period.
It is a pay period, but it's gonna be 2 weeks before. You're gonna be holding back, so you're gonna be, they're not getting paid for yesterday, they're getting paid for last Thursday.
But I'm also gonna be paying other people for Thursday, Wednesday.
That's what I'm saying, I agree, it's gonna be confusing.
And with the new time clock, which is not new, we've had it for years
Right.
and years and years now. Like, it was like the second year I got here, I instituted that because nobody could remember when they worked, ever. And to also note that when I started here, the pay period ended, they did payroll, and it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And it was Sunday night when the pay period ended, but I paid on Thursday. And I said, we can't do this. Like the first audit I went through, which was like weeks after, you can't do that. I was every Monday I was coming in having to alter it because, people get called out to turn on water, turn off water, whatever on the weekend all the time. As far as that, if you want to do it, and we brought this up multiple times, Tony and everybody's discussed it, is if you dedicate a week. You can give everybody that's working a week and make everybody that way and start everybody. So you're basically given a week. Or allowing people to use a week's worth of time. And if they don't have time, we have to figure it out. But you'd have to be uniform. Even the new time clock, which is not, the new time sheet is going to, on Wednesday night at midnight, it stops.
So, when you say give them a week, I'm not understanding giving them a week.
You're basically giving 40 hours of time to staff, or allowing staff to use 40 hours of their time. That happens in jobs quite frequently. If they're changing accounting systems, if they're changing payroll systems, a lot of payrolls only do it, like if you hire a payroll firm, they have set time. So if yours wasn't that set given time, you're going to conform to when they run payroll. Does that make sense to you? You can either give them a week or let them use a week's time to catch up with new employees, or leave it that way it is. That's where we've been stuck for a couple of years now.
And that's the problem is, we'll just, and we gotta find a way to solve it. One way or the other, we gotta find a way to solve it.
That's gonna be pretty confusing. So right now, everybody time, are you saying, and excuse me, maybe I should already know this information, but, so, I'm confused. But everybody's time going on a Wednesday, is that what you're saying? Everybody's, every Wednesday
Everybody's time goes in on Thursday now.
on Thursday,
Went in today.
okay?
Went in today at 11 o'clock.
And then they get paid that same day?
It'll
But that's-
process this afternoon.
For that?
Ended yesterday.
Yeah,
So it is on Wednesday.
It ended yesterday, but we processed it today. It ended yesterday, but we processed it today.
Yeah, and that's the way it should be. That's the
Always
policy.
should have been.
And that, yeah, that's the way it should have always been.
Correct.
But that's not the way it's been. And if we can do it this way, I'm good with the way we're doing it. But we can't be paying early or having them clock out.
The only way that, and I'm trying to figure it out, I'm not an accountant. Lord knows I'm not. Only way, because if you trying to do it for the new employees and not the old ones, again, that's gonna be very difficult. I think, and I'm trying to figure out how can you do it to keep everybody on the same track. In traditional jobs that, you know, I've worked, and I'm sure other people work, there's certain days that are pay period. Well, for instance, most of them are like bi-weekly. I may work 3 weeks, and I understand what you're saying about we can hold. I may work 3 weeks before I get my first paycheck, but it's because maybe that time goes in on the 15th and the 30th of the month. It doesn't necessarily fall on the same date of the week, but it will fall on, you know, a certain
And
dates
see, this is,
of the month.
you know, Social Security, mine is the third Wednesday, the second Wednesday of the month. Okay? It goes into my bank on Monday or Sunday, but I can use it on Tuesday. So, but some people can't, some of the banks don't.
Right.
And so, could we do the time, that wouldn't work either.
The bottom line is, if we're using this system, and the pay period ends on Wednesday evening, and we file it on Thursday, and it goes into the bank on Thursday, if we have a new employee that starts Monday, and his pay period ends Wednesday, and it goes in Thursday, he's gonna get paid for 3 days. What's the big deal?
Yeah, you
Because
just don't
some
have a
don't
full
get paid
paycheck.
until Friday.
Well, that's true, but that's not our
because of
fault,
their
it's not
bank.
his fault, it's the bank's fault.
Yeah, that's the
And that's
bank.
what we're just, we've got,
We changed the policy then and say that they get paid on Friday instead of Thursday.
But
But we don't know that.
we're paying on Thursday.
that's different.
We're paying on
Yeah,
Thursday.
yeah,
whole
you
different
you can't do that because the school board pays the 15th and whatever the end of the month is. I don't get my check depending on, what the 15th and the end of the month is. Mine actually comes a day before. One of my cousins, because the school's payroll is done 2 days before, she gets hers 2 days, the same day that their payroll is done, because I can't remember which credit union she's with, but because of the bank institution she's with, she gets her check as soon as the city, the school posts it. However, I don't get mine until a day later. So, yeah.
I'm good with how it's going right now, if we can stick with that.
I'm just,
We can stick
if we
with that.
waited till Friday for everybody to get it, then the person that you're speaking of, which I know who it is, will get it on Monday. He won't get it till Monday because ACHs go by
He's
that.
not the only one though. There's more than one.
I don't-
But I'm not doing
I
any of
mean,
that.
but I'm not accusing. I'm just saying that's the way it goes. That's the way the bank goes. If I wait till Friday, it would be Monday for him.
Okay, I'm good with it, as long as, Kirsten, we can't get in trouble for, we're not violating our policy, saying time goes in, you get paid on Thursday.
We're paying them on Thursday.
Yeah, I think the only way that problem would be alleviated is if they picked up their checks right from the office.
Correct.
Other than that, I don't think that's going to, like, about the Social Security checks, for instance. Somebody I know get theirs on a Monday, their bank release. I never get mine till Wednesday.
Yeah.
So I'm like, how you get yours so soon? Mine hit like after 12 o'clock that Tuesday night or sometime that
Yeah,
Wednesday.
same.
So that's always gonna be the institution, I think.
I get mine on.
Only way everybody gonna get it the same day is to give them a paper check from the office, and I don't
Right,
think
and that
anybody's trying
costs
to go
more,
back to
that
that
costs
system.
more now.
Yeah, that's the
It
only
does
thing I
cost more
see.
now.
Yeah,
Everybody likes the written copy.
So my suggestion is to leave it in this system that we're using now, if it's working, or at least let's try it, and see if it's working. And, then if it's not working, maybe that gives us time to come up with some other options. And the other thing is, I know you were saying you were confused, but Cindy did say that everybody would need to be on the same thing, so not, so, yeah, you were correct. All right,
I'm good with that, if that's, so leave the policy the way it is.
And to answer your question, Commissioner White, as long as we submit the payments, as long as we send the payments out on the same day, when they get them per their bank's policy is when they get them per their bank's policy.
Okay, I'm good, as long as we're following our policy. All right. On the,
change bank.
yeah. That would, I mean, nobody's complained about it other than me, and I complained because they were turning in time too early.
But are they turning it in too early, or is it just hitting the bank different times for different people?
Are they turning it in, or were they? Were they?
Yes, we
Are
were. They
Yes,
were.
Yes, up to
And
4
even,
days.
and Kirsten can attest to it, it's still amendable, all times amendable, within a certain reasonable time. It's not illegal, it's not against policy, it's not anything. Right now, the way it is if, even if you wrote checks, if the 2 or 3 signers that I have aren't here, they wouldn't get paid, period.
That's true, I forgot about that.
Because we are limited on the ability. So if he's on vacation for a week, he shouldn't have to log in to do payroll and or approve payroll or read through it all. You should be able to do it in advance, because people do their timesheet in advance if they're going on vacation. I mean, you don't pay payroll the week later when they get back. It doesn't work that way. So yes, you can do in advance. And in fact, I know a lot of companies that do it days and days in advance in hopes that it's no problems. And they hate change orders. But I don't like to do it either, because I hate amending them. Did we do it earlier? Because we couldn't get it to go through. The new system would not allow me to process it, and it was taking days to process. I have email trails and phone calls waiting on people to call me back.
Cindy, this has gone on long
Oh,
before the new system.
I understand that.
And I want the policy to read like it does, that, I don't like, there's too many things that could go wrong with doing it early.
I agree.
So, I don't think we ought to be doing it early. And if it means, I can sign a check most any time.
But
Unless something-
people are not gonna get paid on Christmas. What I'm saying is, there's always gonna be a time an ACH is gonna be sent early. You see what I'm saying? Because banks aren't open. You can't necessarily always pay on Thursday. On Thanksgiving, you're not gonna be able to do payroll on Thanksgiving because they're closed. You see
And
what
that
I'm-
I understand. If
But
it's
that's
a
what I'm
holiday,
saying, there's
they're closed.
always exceptions.
Right.
Chronically, no. But sometimes you need time to do payroll. And when it's bad, it's bad.
But this was a bit.
Well, see, when I started here, it was 5 days in advance. Always. That's the way it was set up. That was the way it read. That's how they did it. You left here on Thursday or Friday, you'd already been paid. They did payroll on Thursday. They got paid on Friday, but it didn't end till Monday.
Guess what we got in trouble with the state for?
The auditor, yes. And guess who asked them to do it? It's in their records.
And that's all I'm saying is I don't want to get in trouble again. So, all right, now we come to sick, vacation, and holiday. And this is crazy.
Can I ask a question before we move to that? Cindy was saying about, like, if it's Thursday, Thanksgiving, how do you all handle that then? Do they get their checks on time then? Or are they late? Okay.
They probably do it in advance.
Yeah, so you do it earlier then, right? Okay.
If it
That's what I
falls,
want to know.
the only time I don't ever do, I can't do that is with commissioner paychecks in the first of the year. The very first of the year, I have to wait until after July, or January 1st. And I usually do it whenever the next day is. I come in. That's the only time.
Say that again.
The only, because you guys get 12 checks in a year, we get more, and you get certain amounts, for tax reasons, I can't backdate yours.
So, I mean,
You see
I'm
what-
fine, but I'm talking
But,
about
so,
your staff.
because you guys are supposed to be paid on the first day of the first, or it's the first working day, technically, of the first of the month. So on that day, I always try to either do it previous, but I can't do it previous on January 1st, because otherwise it goes on the next tax year. And you don't want that. You want extra.
Yeah, I wasn't concerned about us, I want to make sure the staff get theirs on time. So that's what I'm saying, when the holidays roll around, do you do them sooner to make sure, for instance, Thanksgiving, if they're getting their checks, you want to make sure they get their checks before Thanksgiving.
And we're already being paid in advance. So,
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not concerned about
yeah.
what we get, but yeah, that's all I'm concerned about, make sure they get theirs, because if I was a working employee, don't pay me after Thanksgiving, I want mine before.
All right.
So, holidays, and there seems to be some confusion about holiday pay. I've been told that if they work a holiday, they're getting 3 times the amount of their check.
If they work on a city, all right.
Yeah, because I couldn't understand that one.
If you say, okay, July 4th's coming up, we're gonna be off.
Right,
It's an off day. So we're gonna get paid 10 hours.
right,
Water main breaks.
okay.
Everybody in public works has to come in. They're gonna get paid not time and a half, holiday pay. Holiday pay is double pay. So that's 3 times.
No, holiday
No,
pay
sure,
is
you know,
one time. Holiday
But
pay,
that's not how our policy reads.
well, how does it?
And it never got clarified. I've asked the attorney, these attorneys, but
Cindy, it says when a holiday falls on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday in lieu of observing said holiday during the basic 4-day week, employees shall be compensated for each holiday based on the compensation for 1 10-hour workday,
that's correct.
in addition to compensation for all other time work. They get paid for 1 day for the holiday. If they work, they get paid for that unless
pay.
it's overtime, then it's time and a half.
So look up holiday pay. And not just that.
I just read it to you.
No, there's more. You have to read the whole leave policy. Or the whole sick and.
I'm quitting, I'm coming here. 'cause
Ain't that the
I'm gonna
truth?
get tired.
And work every holiday.
But, as for instance, you may just come in for 1 hour. You're not gonna get paid 30 hours for that day. You're gonna get paid 10 hours. And instead of time and a half, because it is overtime, because at this rate you have worked 40 hours, regular work week, you're gonna get paid double pay. You're gonna get 3 hours for coming, or I said an hour, 2 hours. Plus the 10-hour holiday compensation pay, which is different. So if I come in and I clock in and work, you think I'm only getting paid for the 10 hours, but Kath Penny gets to keep 10 hours?
Holiday pay is holiday pay. It's 10 hours. It doesn't count towards overtime at all.
Correct.
You know, so if they, July 4th is a good example. If they put their 40 hours in, and chances are every one of them is gonna get time and a half for, July 4th on Saturday. And probably Friday too, which is scary. But they're gonna get paid time and a half for that Saturday for working, plus their holiday. That's only,
That's incorrect. July 4th is on Wednesday or Thursday,
okay,
so they will only get paid 10 hours for that, and they don't have to work unless there's an emergency. And as if it was Christmas Day or any other holiday, or somewhere in our policy it states, and I will find it, I don't have it with me,
So then, all right, then I'll make.
then it's
so they're
double
gonna
pay.
get 10 hours for Wednesday.
Yes,
If they're working Thursday, Monday and Tuesday. So at the most they should have is 30 hours unless they've had to come back and do a water line or something.
that's a different work week.
Okay.
And you see what I'm saying? It messes it up.
Thursday, Monday and Tuesday.
Thursday, Monday, and Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Wednesday's a holiday. They get paid 10 hours, they're off.
Mhm.
That doesn't count to any overtime, period.
Correct.
No overtime. So the 30 hours will go, and that's the end of the week, so.
But
What
there's,
are you coming up with 3 times the amount? I mean, I'm still not hearing 3 times. the
okay.
amount.
First of all, our work week goes from Thursday to Wednesday.
Right.
This particular one is going to be another work week following it. So if they work this Wednesday, that is the last day of the week. So they would have already gotten their 40, they won't. And they won't get their 40. But if it was on Thursday, you have the entire next week as well, that things can happen. That's a long time.
Well, let's go to Thanksgiving. On Thanksgiving, it's a Thursday.
Right?
Yes.
So they've already put their 40 hours in.
Mhm.
But Thursday's starting a new week.
Correct.
So
They have not put
on
in,
that, they're getting paid for the holiday. If they're called in, they're gonna get 10 hours.
plus,
They have not put in,
no ma'am.
yes, sir, ma'am.
No.
They haven't put in 40 hours.
I don't have the policy in front of me, and you don't have the entire one either.
Well,
Let me see. That's not nowhere near enough to be the entire.
No, it's not the entire one, but
it's not, but it's, I guess in the holiday.
Let me see. But this is just our approved.
Now, if they come back after working that Thursday and they put in 40 hours, then they've got overtime.
Yeah, you don't have the
You're
section
only
on
gonna
that.
get,
No, there's a section on overtime.
I haven't seen it, I haven't looked at it.
That's where it states, and this is what I brought to Clay when this holiday business started. It's a section on, you can look in your policy or whatever, on overtime and double time. And you'll see that that's a whole different, like call-out time, standby time, overtime, and something else, and that's where it's at. It's in a different section, so it overwrites it.
And we need to pull
She
that
might.
section.
We do, because it sounds very
Yeah.
confusing.
Because if that was the case, you would never get somebody to come in here and work on Christmas Day and fix a water leak.
Correct.
If they are still getting paid the same thing I am, because I don't have to come in.
No,
Well,
But a lot of people do that.
holiday, if you have to work on a holiday, most jobs will give you double time.
It is double time.
But
Double time?
if you work all day, if you work the full 10 hours,
Correct. But that's
then,
what
then
it
you will get the
amounts to.
double time.
That's not what ours says.
But
But,
that's what it amounts to, is.
So we need
you're
to-
getting paid.
so are you saying ours is saying it's stating, I keep hearing you say 3 times?
It is.
Yeah,
Your
that's why
holiday
we say
pay
we
is
Created
one.
that policy.
Holiday is
been
mission.
created.
When it just never touched back to a previous policy, that's the problem. Is it goes back into, the other, it was talking about call out and you'll be paid at 1.5 or 2. And it goes into, people coming back and having to work and be on call.
So we,
I don't have it in front of me.
we,
I don't remember.
we need to look back at the
I've never heard
policy.
that before.
That's exactly, that's what I'm
I
saying.
ain't never heard that
And
before.
you know what,
'Cause
what
I don't mind working the holidays sometimes.
But it only happens if,
But you get paid 3 times the amount.
no, that only happens if it's the day you make us work our regular. See, we're using it in instances where we're actually off. The problem entails that you've given an extra 10 hours on days that you make us work. And then if that's We're the double, I mean, it's,
Yeah,
not
I need
triple,
to see it in writing.
because
This is,
with my job, just like Memorial Day, I went in, they say, hey, somebody already done called out for Memorial Day, somebody said, that was my off day.
your regular off day,
No, it's a
No,
holiday.
it was a holiday.
a holiday.
But I was off because where I work, I didn't have to work, but they needed somebody. I got time and a half and what we consider critical pay and a perk bonus. But
But what is
that's
that?
not, that,
Sound like a lot.
But I
but
mean,
it's not,
didn't read
it's
the
not like
policy.
I
I
got
read the
paid for
policy.
that
That was it.
whole day and then get time and a half on top of that. Now, the people who did not, like if I wouldn't have went into work, I would have just got paid my holiday pay for that day.
and I think that's what
That's-
Commissioner
yeah.
White is saying.
But see, if you ask them to work on the holiday,
Your
Your
purpose,
time
you're
and a
getting that time and a half.
no, you get 10 hours, the holiday pay.
So, let's
And that's
do
the
this,
problem.
let's do this, Cindy.
No, ma'am.
40 hours in.
No,
Commissioner White, let's do this. Let's put this, let's add this to the agenda to go back and look at the policy where it concerns the holiday pay, the overtime and all of that.
This is something that Cindy and I had asked several years ago for Clay to straighten out. And we had asked him several times to straighten this out, and it never got straightened out.
In true Danielle and I fashion, we will straighten it out.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's put that on the agenda to go back through it. I think I have the latest, personnel policy book. I'm not sure, but we might just need to have those emailed again.
Deanna,
we-
could you make sure that we get a copy of the overtime, whatever Cindy's referring to, please,
Yeah.
ma'am? Thank you.
All right.
I'd rather have that, because I don't want to look through the whole policy.
Because the whole policy is big, but we need to start with something, and I think that was
Yeah.
probably the problem. It was so much, and I do remember us spending multiple days on it, but it was so much that we might have missed that, because that is not making a whole lot of sense. So we definitely need to look at that part again.
Okay.
What's next? Okay.
Sick and vacation time, there's a couple of issues with that. And if you look at the policy, it says that, vacation time, I gotta find my book sheet, is accrued, and I'm gonna say that all of them are full-time employees now, okay? It's, what do I have? They get 1 day, yeah. Begin accruing vacation leave on the first day of the month following employment. Vacation leave may generally be
Which page are you on? I'm sorry.
38.
Okay.
At the end of each fiscal year, employees' vacation leave accounts will be reduced so that when the accounts are credited on the next day, the balance does not exceed 24 days. So they can carry.
Oh, microphone, sorry.
Had it on it. Okay, I'm sorry, thank you. So they can carry their vacation time 24 hours over. I mean, yeah, 24 days. Yeah, they can carry 24 days over into the next year.
Okay.
Okay. They can sell back half of it. Where did I see that at?
I'm looking.
Payment for unused, it's,
Is it at the bottom?
yeah. it's there.
7.05.
And, at the manager's discretion, they can sell back half of it.
Mm-hmm.
If they've got more than 80 hours of vacation leave. Now, It looks like some of them were paid more than half. And, when I went back. Sick time, however, is accrued on the first day of each month. And on September the 30th, at the end of each fiscal year, they're reduced to 0. Now you can sell half of it back. And this is where I have a real problem. Vacation time can carry over into the next year. Sick time can't. It looks to me like it should be reversed.
And it should.
Yeah.
But it-
And, my thing is, people need a vacation. Everybody needs a vacation during the year and should take it. But, 24 days, it's a lot, it's almost, but anyway,
I guess I should be happy for the school board, because my sick time and my vacation time just rolls over
See, and that's
until I
what-
use it.
but we don't.
Keeps going, yep. But
And that's
I
what I
bet you
said.
do.
That's,
So,
that's
and I was
my-
gonna say, and with the city as small as we are, I guess that's probably why the policy was written the way it was. But then I'm thinking, what if, I mean, we had a couple of our public works guys out on sick leave or vacation, and then something happened. Then they had to come back. I mean, the whole policy sounded to me like it
It's
needs to be
screwy.
revamped.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
because it's
y'all.
crazy. Yeah.
My wording, but it's crazy.
You can only get paid back 80 hours total for vacation. Sick time is the one that's half.
Right. She said
Okay.
that.
Yeah,
think
so
she
they
said
can
that.
carry over 240 hours because we work 10-hour days. So that's 24 days. 240 can be carried over. Previous to this, and the only reason they accumulate, and it's not all everybody, it's 20 plus years, they accumulate 18 hours per pay period. That's, do the math, that's 4 days a month he gets in vacation. So he never can take it off, and he was losing it. It used to be, you lost it. It just went away if he didn't take it. So carryover is important for vacation, because he lost a lot of years.
But if we thought back, part of it, and I do agree with you, I hear what you're saying. What if we don't buy back sick time and we just let it roll over each year?
I agree.
I agree too, but I really feel like we need to go back and look at all of this again and probably revamp, because
I agree with
yeah, a lot of that doesn't make sense.
And that's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying is, when I started reading, this is not audit, this is clearly.
Right.
And it's
Right.
not anybody's fault except the 5 that sat up here down through the years. So,
So I think that's our best action.
okay, well, those
Go
are the
back and
things
look
I
at
had
that.
with that. Contracts were the other thing. And we've had contracts that haven't gone out for bid, or we haven't put an RFP out for one. And I could wait on Kirsten to come back, but I did talk to Danielle and ask her if she could do a resolution up that all contracts need to go before the attorney to be read before, and then they come to us. And make sure that there's nothing in them that, I depend on our
Attorneys.
attorneys to
Yeah.
tell us if
And I was gonna
something's
say, yeah, because usually I think that is, well, that's usually what we ask them to do, go over
That's
it.
usually what, yeah.
Yeah.
But, and I'm not attacking you, Tony.
I know.
Because the last last city manager's evaluation, contract did not go before the attorney. And there were changes on it, and,
You mean the one that we did for him?
Changes that were on that Deanna made were the salary based on what Cindy gave me, the time, the vacation and stuff that Cindy gave me, and the date that Cindy gave me. That is the only change that was made in that contract, and that is the only reason it did not go back to the attorney, because nothing else changed.
But we sent our responses to the attorneys.
Pardon?
But we sent our responses
She's talking about she's talking about my contract.
the
the
contract,
whole contract. Okay,
Contract,
yeah.
okay, okay.
It was up for renewal, and the
Okay,
date changed,
okay.
and the salary changed, and the vacation changed based on
That's true.
what Cindy had given me. And Deanna changed those the figures in there,
Mm-hmm.
and the contract went back to you because nothing else changed in it.
Okay,
And
okay.
it didn't go back to the attorney because that was our oversight.
and the time in it is not right. I mean,
What do you mean the time in it?
his vacation time, he's getting paid,
Okay.
he is getting the same amount that Calvin gets for 20 years, over 20 years. He's the city manager.
I highlighted it. I didn't know you were gonna ask that, but I was looking at it.
That's the one before.
The previous, it's the same.
And I know, I saw it. And I also know that, Scott signed it.
You
So,
did what?
Scott signed it. However, if you read it, it states, this is not the first one, is it? The original contract.
Scott Walker?
Yes.
Okay.
It says the employee shall accrue vacation leave at a rate of 18 hours per month, which is the current rate. His current rate would be 5 years.
I didn't know it was in there.
And he will accrue sick leave at the rate of 10 hours per month, which is the current rate. I don't know what the current rate is for 5 years, but whatever it is, it's 12 hours per month, so that one's wrong too. But, it doesn't have in it both of those are wrong. It doesn't have in it that he's to live within so many miles of the city. And I know we were clear in that in the original. But that's our fault. We didn't look at it. We let it go. And I depended on the attorneys thinking that, yeah.
That it goes through.
But if it didn't go before them, then I can't blame them, so. But anyway, I would like to see all contracts go out for bid. And if they're over the amount you're allocated, they ought to have an RFP. And then go before the attorneys to be checked.
Understand?
Y'all.
Good, yes.
And Danielle said that she would work on a resolution to that effect, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you. All right. And this one, I'm gonna sound like I'm attacking somebody, and I may be, but, we have one of the contracts that we have was with 2 cleaning people we were paying, and Roberta has discussed that on numerous occasions. We were paying 2 contracted cleaning people at the same time for a couple of months. I don't know how many months it was. Then we hired a young lady without putting any kind of ad in the paper or any kind of advertisement for a cleaning person. And and I'm not gonna get into my problems with the cleaning person at this point in time, other than all employment needs to be advertised. And do we have a policy to that?
I don't believe that you have a policy that requires that to be the case.
Okay, I haven't looked, so,
I'm not aware of one.
then we need one. If you're gonna hire somebody, especially somebody, if they're gonna be in that office by themselves, we need to do a background. We need to do a background check. There's some sensitive documents in there. They're public record, most of them. But if you lose one that hasn't been copied yet, we're hurting, we don't have that public record. And I don't think anybody should be in the office by themselves on a Friday or Saturday. It's too dangerous, not for us, but for them. So that's all I've got.
All right. Commissioners, any discussions on the last couple items?
And you'll check in, Kirsten, to the, no, you won't, we will, never mind.
Your microphone is on. Did you have any discussion?
I was just gonna say, I agree with, Commissioner White on the, advertisement for, I would say for any jobs that,
Oh, that's, you trying to.
Sorry.
Commissioner White is getting reprimanded right now. Commissioner
That's.
But anyway, I agree.
Yeah, he's clicking
Totally
his
getting
pen.
reprimanded. Yeah, but I agree. I agree with any jobs that the city have available, any of them, you know, whether it's cleaning or whatever, that they should be advertised.
I agree, and I think any
And now she started. Oh! I started clicking my pen. It's down.
Well, I think any contractual obligation we're gonna make needs to go out for an RHP.
Definitely.
And, just because, RFP, excuse me. So,
All right. Vice Mayor, anything? And if you do, turn your microphone on.
Since we done stopped the pen clicking. I agree that we do need to look at the policy, especially with that overtime for the holidays. We need to look in that, and Tony stopped clicking that pen. And I'm sorry, y'all, it drives me crazy. I apologize. And popping gums, so. All right, so I agree that we do need to look at, the policies and especially about the holiday pay and the,
And see.
and sick leave, sick time.
Go back over those and figure something out.
Right.
And while we're going back over that and figuring,
One more,
Yes,
can I
ma'am.
go way back to Ms. Costello? When I called Deanna and them, they say they have not gotten a raise. And I just text both of them, and neither one of them, so I don't know which employee that you know have gotten a raise.
I have it in black and white, I can email it to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if some got one, and
I will tell you that this fiscal year, any employee that had a review since October up until May, when y'all froze everything, may have gotten a percentage of merit, which was no more than 1.5 to 1 3/4%. And everybody in October got a cost of living because
Well,
you
I remember
authorized
that.
it.
I remember
That is the
that.
only thing anybody has gotten this
right,
year.
right. And I was gonna say, if, I don't remember what the number was that we had approved for Tony, but then Tony said that he wasn't gonna take the raise. Right. Yes, we did. We were going to, but then he
Yes, you
said-
did, you
he said
approved
that
it.
he
I don't
wasn't
remember
gonna
what it
take
was, but I
yeah.
declined it.
Right. That's how that happened. But I do remember the cost of living. I do remember that in October, but that was
I
October.
think that's part of our policy too, is that
It
they
is.
get a
Cost of living.
increase each year.
Right, right. Now I forgot what I was about to say. Oh, gosh.
Tony gives the merit raise.
Well, I forgot. Oh, I know. I was going to talk about overtime. I talked to a couple of the people in Public Works. So if we can, while we're thinking about it and looking at the policy, let's see if we can come up with an easier way for people that are on call. So, because right now, I think for Public Works, one or two people are on call for 2 weeks at the time. Which means if something happens or they need to go somewhere in those 2 weeks, that they are locked in. So let's also be looking at that. How can we make it work easier than 2 weeks? And we're not talking from the audience. Thank you. All right. We're not going through this, period. Okay, so at this point, was that all for you, dear? All for you? All for you? All right. Got anything?
I was gonna say something, but I forgot what I was gonna say.
You turn your microphone on.
I said I was gonna say something, but I forgot what I was, oh, I know what I was gonna say. Not related to this, but we have received $7,300 worth of donations,
I saw the
contributions
email.
in support of the 6th of July fireworks event.
Good, okay. I
We
saw
got
that.
some from Duke Energy, Bliss Sporting Goods, which did our recreational projects down at Wilson Robinson. We got some from Arnold Construction. You remember who else? Cox. Duke gave us $2,000.
Good job.
The Chevron station gave us $300.
I'm helping to pay for it.
But all total, we got $7,300.
Good, thank you. All right, we're gonna go to public comment period, 3 minutes. Please, ma'am, please, sir, state your name if you will.
Roberta Lopez. I was listening to the policies and all of this you're discussing. I think what we need to do, or you need to do, is get organized, first of all, by getting your complete personnel file. And then maybe do an advisory committee to actually go through each piece step by step, and then bring it back maybe to the commission for approval or disapproval. Because the way we're doing it now, I don't understand half of well, I do understand it, but what I'm trying to say is we need a better method of doing this. I have been collecting policies from around different municipalities in the county, and also I have the complete personnel file from a city of our size. And it is so organized, it's unreal. A few years ago, when I was here, years ago, I called a bunch of people together and we did the personnel record, personnel manual, and we took it step by step. And until you can go step by step on each one of these things instead of just jumping all around, it's going to be hard to understand. And you can use other people's personnel manuals as a model, because the one that I collected from this small city, it is dynamite. So that's what I'm going to suggest as far as that concerned. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that when we do an audit, that audit is supposed to go to the general auditor, which is on their website or whatever for the state. And I just wanted to know from the attorney if it did go.
I would have to look. I'm not sure.
Okay, The 2022-23 audit for the city of Archer has not been posted on the general auditor's website as of today. You have to post them.
Madam Mayor, it hasn't been done yet.
I'm talking 22-23. Well, the one before that.
Okay. The 2022-23 is what we're looking at now.
Exactly, but the one before that had not been posted. So anyway, and if, that's one thing that we need to make sure of. I just wanted to bring it to her attention, that needs to be done. But I really encourage that we get an advisory committee to look into this and go over each step. And Commissioner White, I will share that with you. Or maybe I already did, I don't know.
You did, yes.
Yeah, I think that's a good model.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
we did, as a group here, about 5 years ago, go through the personnel policy step by step by step.
We did.
However, until we get the problem hit us in the face, we think it's gonna work, but,
Right. And that's exactly
and
what I
that's
was
what I'm
saying. I
saying.
remember.
as I come to them, I'm bringing them to y'all so we can, and if it means an extra meeting in the month, then it doesn't, it's an hour and a half.
2021. 2021.
What, I'm talking about the extra meeting.
No, I meant the audit. I mean,
Yeah.
the last time we went, the
Yeah.
policy was 2021.
Okay. Yeah. I know.
Go ahead, Ms. Costello.
Lori Costello, citizen. So I sent a email back in September, and Commissioner Hope read it at the last meeting, but he never read my questions on that September email. And I have a lot of concerns about the timesheets. I know people are still getting paid time and a half for not taking lunch, working 10, 12-hour days, and we're paying them time and a half. Okay, this commission told our manager that needed to stop, and it never did stop. Okay, I have probably a dozen concerns on that email, and I thought that maybe if the timesheets went to the auditor, that my questions would get answered. But if they're not going to the auditor, oh, they are? Oh, okay, I'm sorry, then I'm sorry, I am so sorry. I misunderstood. Okay, thank you. What about the travel? I didn't know whether was the travel going? No, okay. I've been getting travel for years, and it's a mess, and that was another thing I brought up. We're paying $102, and that's for one person. It says right on the receipt, one person, okay? $43 for breakfast. I mean, over $450 a night for a hotel room. We are a small town, and when you have 3 or 4 people going to a conference and nobody's bringing back a report. When I was commissioner, we shared a ride. Okay, we didn't rent cars. We had every receipt. I've never received a travel voucher with everything that it's supposed to have. And if you look at the state statute, it's supposed to have all the receipts, it's supposed to have the agenda. If you're getting paid for mileage, the start mileage, the end mileage, okay? I've never received one correct travel voucher from the city, ever, okay? And I've brought this up to the commission, and I'm still not getting correct travel vouchers. I wanted to ask about the comment about what Berta said. I get faded and uneligible copies also. Now, I would like everybody at City Hall and anywhere else that has to do with the city, review the public record policy. The city's already been sued once. They need to go by the public records policy, and that's not happening, okay? You can get third-party copies. Actually, you're supposed to get third-party copies, and that's not happening. So
Ms. Costello, that's your 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So,
Madam
I
Mayor.
can't speak for other people. Let me address a few things. Receipts, we do bring back receipts or email. I try to email my receipts as soon as I get back. As far as agendas, as soon as COVID hit, the agendas have now been offered online. I don't print them out. I usually download the app for the agenda, but after that event, it updates to whatever the new event is. So I'm not gonna be able to pull it up. I'm not gonna try to pull it up, because I know at one time I tried to pull up the agenda to look at something that was online, and it was no longer available. So that's how they are doing them now. You can opt to print it out, or you can opt to go and get agendas from them. I don't. The other thing is, way back in 2016, when I first got elected to be on the board, the one thing that was said to us is, do not ride to conferences together. You could ride, one of you could ride with the city manager if they are going. If one of the ladies are going, you could ride, but do not ride together. So we don't ride together. That is the reason for that. Most of the time, Tony will pick me up and let me ride, unless I'm actually at my day job and it's gonna be a long day. Then yes, we have to go separately. And yes, I rent cars if I have to go, because the city is not paying for my car. And if I'm going down there for that, that's what I'm going for. The other thing is, when I do go to conferences, I definitely come back and talk about what we talked about, what we did. I also heard these two ladies. They've gone to 1 or 2 conferences with us, and I've heard them. And the last time when we were sitting here and they were talking about the conferences, because they were so expressive in the things that they talked about, I think I only talked about one, because it was like the mayor's meeting that I had went to that they were not a part of. As far as your questions from September, we took almost 2 hours. If you are not satisfied, I'm so sorry for you. I am not answering any of those from September again, because Commissioner Hope took an hour and a half, and he answered and went into great detail on every single one of those questions. So if you're not satisfied, I'm so sorry. I hope you find satisfaction somewhere. I'm done.
Cause like the conference, I do come back, and like if I do rent a car, I pay for my own gas. I figure if they get me a car, I pay for my own gas. So you never get a receipt for me for that, because I pay for it myself. A lot of my meals I pay for myself, because I feel if you're gonna send me some things, I can pay for myself. So you may not see no receipts from me when it comes to that. And like I spoke the first time I went, like Armadale. I still want to go to Armadale because they're doing the thing with the sewer with another city. I want to see how it's going along, how it's looking, and how it's going to make the city look. Also, the last time I went, we talked about parks, because we're having the problems with the bathrooms unlocked and locked. And I talked to a lot of people in different cities, bigger than ours, smaller than ours, in reference to it. So yeah, I do come back and talk about it. So, but I'm not going this time, so we ain't got to worry about me.
I was basically gonna say the same thing. We were advised to do not ride together. Abstain from the appearance of evil.
Correct.
And if we can't sit in the car and not talk about the city, you're gonna say we are.
That's
Or
right.
somebody's gonna say.
Whether we are or not, and so that's
As
what
much as I hate to drive, I wish we could.
I mean, we have been told, do not ride together. And I don't have a problem with that because I do remember when we went to Tallahassee, there were some that rode together, not commissioners that we were going up against, if you'll remember. And there was discussion about what they're talking about, the audit probably. So I've made it a policy not to ride with anybody. But the other thing is, what I brought tonight was internal. What we are gonna send time sheets to the auditor to look at. But these are things the auditor that has nothing to do with that we need to take care of. So I think that answered that. That's Mayor, it's all yours. And it's still public comment.
Any other public comments? Come on, come on, come on. Thank you for coming. Come on.
On the not driving together, I worked for IBM for 30-some years, and we were not allowed as managers to even fly on the same airplane together. And the rationale behind that was if there was a crash, you didn't want to lose a core group of people. We wouldn't even let our employees travel on the same planes for those safety reasons, because the impact to the business if you lose a lot of people. But you brought up the sunshine law, and I've been looking in the online for the sunshine stuff, and it's kind of confusing. And I know that you as commissioners get an update or a review or a training session every year. And I was wondering if it'd be possible for the attorneys to bring back a presentation to one of our commission meetings for the public, so the public understands the sunshine law and what you as commissioners can and cannot do. Because I think there's a lot of confusion when I talk to people on what they think it is and what can be done. So I just think that'd be something that might be, for a later date, be of great interest and clear up some things in confusion with the public. And the other thing, Mayor Bailey's not here, but she said she rents a car because they don't pay for her car. In the mileage rate, it does include wear and tear on your vehicle, oil changes, all that is factored into the actual mileage rate.
I've never gotten mileage rate. I didn't know we get paid for mileage rate.
Oh, yeah.
I drive my car most of the time.
Yeah.
Well, I've been cheated.
Yeah.
I've only rented a car one time. Most of the time I drive my own vehicle.
Yeah, but the mileage rate, it factors in all that stuff.
Well, next time I'm gonna include my mileage.
And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
.67 cents per mile.
Thank you.
When Courtney did ours here at City Hall, I mean, she did it for years, just coming in and doing it annually, our annual ethics training. And she would come in, could we not do that? And the citizens come into it too?
That's
So it's, the whole presentation and what you're required to do is 4 hours.
That can take my place.
So I mean, we're happy to make the presentation in whatever format you all want. I just want to remind you that it is a 4-hour presentation, and I would be hard pressed to do it in less.
Well, I mean, if they do it at the attorney's office, but if somebody would do it here, and the citizens, it would be good for them to know. Because it's pretty harsh.
We can try to arrange that.
There's nothing that says we can't ride together. There's nothing that says that we can't go out and eat together. But somebody's gonna see it and say, I bet they're talking about city business. So,
and that's the reason we don't.
Well, I'm still coming to your office.
I wonder why.
We all know.
Its initials is JD.
If I may, I wasn't, Miss Mary, you weren't here, what I was suggesting maybe a presentation at one of the commission meetings on the sunshine law so the citizens would better understand it. I wasn't meaning the full 4-hour course. You know,
Now you go back out.
but no, I would, you know, as, you know, I'm on the Planning and Zoning Commission now, I would love to take that course. You know, but I think there's confusion to a lot of the residents on what the sunshine, what you can and can't, and a presentation might go a long way to resolving a lot of that conflict.
If I may, Madam Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
We recently did a very abbreviated with lots of asterisks of please do not take this as everything because you will be wrong, this is not everything. Abbreviated presentation for GRU and their board. So we do have an abbreviated presentation that we could give in approximately 30 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Which does not include, no. Which does not meet your training requirements, which is what I was about to say.
I was going to
and
say
does
what you
not-
are already in the process of saying.
And does not include all aspects of sunshine law, but
Right.
just the main heavy hitters. So we're happy to do that.
Is there anything that prohibits other board members from attending that session?
So the sunshine law prohibits members of the same board discussing city business outside of a publicly noticed meeting. If we were to give the presentation at a publicly noticed meeting, that would clear up our sunshine
No, what
issue.
I'm talking about is when you give your the meeting in December, like you
Sure.
normally do, is there anything that prohibits them from attending that meeting?
No, absolutely not. We welcome everyone to attend that meeting.
Yeah, because it was all kind of.
State law said that any board member had to.
There are some board members that do not have to. There are
So
some
not
boards.
advisory boards.
Right,
probably.
advisory boards, as long as you're not making final confirmation decisions on things in the city, you don't have to perform the
Land
training.
use items that you're recommending to the city, you don't have to?
So planning and zoning does need to attend.
Yeah. That's what I thought. state-
Generally speaking.
You get your wish, right?
For 4 hours.
We will make sure that we provide all of that information, not only to our commission, but to our board members, because we would love to see you in November or December.
All right.
Just can't wait.
I bet you can't. All right, do we have,
Trust me, you'll enjoy it over there,
Oh, I've been through them before.
not at their place.
We do it better.
Carolyn Calfani, citizen. I just wanted to make a comment about the sunshine law as well. Is it possible to consider just posting something on the wall here in the room here that basically just give the general,
pointers of it?
Yeah.
Possibly.
just the general, outline of sunshine law? Pardon me? No, I don't mean the whole thing. I mean just the general information like sunshine law basically says that you're not supposed to go down to Mr. Bob's restaurant and talk about city business, that type of thing. Everything has to be posted to the public so that the public is aware of it. I'm just saying just general little light stuff. If you guys do the presentation for 30 minutes, maybe take 5 or 6 things in there that kind of clarify everything and just make a poster or something with the bullets of what's most important or what would kind of give them clarification of what the sunshine law is, that people can just look at it and say, oh, okay. They're not saying that they can't meet when they need to meet. They just can't go out and just get together and just talk about city business.
Correct.
As long as they post it, give notice, then they can call a special meeting if they need to,
Right.
if it's outside of their regular meeting days.
Right.
Something that just kind of make it clear for people. Just
Yes.
post something in here and then citizens can start to read it every
Mm-hmm.
time they come in, because not everybody's going to go online
Right.
and look at what's there.
That's
I'll look at that and see if I can get with the attorney and see if we can put something together.
Yeah, something like that might help.
Thank you.
The other comment I wanted to go back to about getting public records that are legible, that people can read and be able to see. Just would like to ask if you guys could look into that a little bit more and see if we can get something clarified on getting public records and copies and things that citizens request that they be legible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
on that, Cindy, when you do the bills each month, or when you do we ask for, the bank statement.
Excuse us.
And you send us the bank statement, and it's got the checks that have been signed. Why are those clear?
Drummond Bank, who is non-existent anymore, no longer, they always did little tiny checks. But you had the capability of going back on their website up to 5 years and getting those. But unfortunately, Drummond is no longer existent. And when Seacoast took it over, you can no longer request anything. They only allowed a year, and now that year's passed. So by requesting a copy of a check from 5 years ago, 4 years ago, that's the only available copy now. And it's considered acceptable. Well,
I'm not
because
saying you're wrong, I'm saying that's just wrong.
when they quit giving back your checks after your canceled checks, they quit doing that, I don't know, 15 years ago. Probably because it would cost too much money to keep them sorted. They started printing these little micro minis. But when you go through the statement, it shows check number for this amount. And then you can go back and see who it was to. I mean, they give you opportunities throughout the statement to see what it is. I mean, it does say right below it, the check number and the amount and the date it was cashed.
So it's just a matter of trying to request it or getting it as soon as possible.
Right.
Rather than
You wait. I could read these in my email. I could read it.
I can read that one, but we haven't counted church.
On the bills, I requested and updated, they sent me a statement, because if somebody doesn't put printer ink in their printer and they print it out, that's what it is. I had to get the first one, because the second one was absolutely clear. And that's the yellow copy. It showed you couldn't copy it, you couldn't look at it, and nothing. But the second tickets also had it printed on there. Same information, just without all the tax extra. This is going to this fund, this is going to that fund, on a field receipt. As far as the clarity on the back of a pre-printed legal thing for Sunbelt or for any of those that it comes in on pre-printed paper, they specifically do it in a gray ink so that when you're scanning or making copies or any of that, it doesn't read through or bleed through and you can still see the front of the paper. They do that specifically. But they also, on their website, give you the legalese where you can look at it at any point. That's why, I mean, it's just really that's what you're signing. You have a copy of it in front of you. You can't say you didn't have it. That's like renting a car, anything like that.
Where you going?
If we have to give a citizen something like what we just saw, they shouldn't have paperwork. That you can't, I can't read it, and I've got my glasses and good eyes. Okay, I'm good with that then.
All right.
Since I brought it
So-
up, Madam Mayor, since I brought that subject up, may I speak 1 minute?
1 minute, you say?
No,
Come on.
2 minutes.
Yes, ma'am.
3 minutes.
She already had her first 3 minutes, so I'll give you 2. Come on.
Okay, thanks. Roberta,
Yes, ma'am.
first of all, I think on that Sunbelt stuff or whatever it was, I wasn't looking at the back of a check. It was something like contractual with a lot of, I know. But it wasn't a check. It was like contractual stuff. You know what I mean? And the other thing too, Drummond Bank, I don't believe they've been gone 5 years.
I said 1 year.
Or 1 year. So there's really no way to even get anything. So the new bank that took over, they don't keep old records?
Only 1 year back.
So I guess I won't get any answers to my public records then.
You got it. You got what's
No, I can't see that. So I'm gonna ask, can I have my copy back, or do you wanna have a copy?
I thought you got it back, Roberta.
No, I think I threw it up there to you.
Ooh.
I think I'll back and you can get me a copy and I'll pick it up or whatever.
I was
If I can
trying to
get it out of
see
my
if the
computer.
sunshine law only
Thank you. But this right here is just really ridiculous when you can't follow up with that.
can't control that, though.
What about statements or something?
That is the statement.
I know it's a statement, but what about, do you keep any other records other than the check? Do you actually write it in some kind of binder, what you're doing with this and the description for the job?
Absolutely. And
So
you
where
already-
is that?
In QuickBooks.
Okay, so why can't I get a copy?
QuickBooks?
No,
Store.
of the description of these. What was this for?
Roberta, she said at the bottom of every check was what it was.
Yeah, but it's not written on there. I mean, I can't see it.
First of all, you have it upside down.
That's what I know, 'cause I can't see it.
Well, this isn't the one I gave you. Because the one I gave you was highlighted. So, let's see, this one, it's Mincy. So I highlighted it. You can barely faintly see it. But that's Mincy's.
Yeah, but like, so one like this, I can't see it. So is there any way that you can get a description of what these checks were for? Somewhere out of your computer?
For each one of these?
Why not?
Why?
Because it's a request.
Yeah,
To get,
if you request it,
if I
but that's
can,
gonna be very time consuming.
but if I can't get the amounts that are on these checks, how else am I gonna?
$72.58.
It's not all of them.
It's on every one of these.
But anyway,
6,949.
but up here, okay, that's there, but what about the names and all that? So I've gone over my 3 minutes. I don't even know who they were written to. If you look at that, it's,
If I could see it, I'll write it out for you.
Thank you.
what I want you to
mean, I
write
can
out
look
is the
them
name
up,
of, the
but-
name of the, who received the check, who was it written to?
What if I
mean-
call you and Cindy and just say, it's the one I can't read?
I mean, if I have the record, I printed it out, so I can put it in
I
there.
can't read it.
But if you want it that way, that's fine. But if I have to print everything about each check, it's gonna be time consuming.
Yeah,
No,
I
I
mean, I
can't
can't read it at all.
Can't even
But I
get a name
definitely
of
see
who
the
the check
dates.
was written to?
Yeah.
And
I
that's
see the
time
dates, the
consuming?
check number, and the amount.
To print everything out about each one of
Probably
those
not
bills.
on there.
I mean,
How many
I can
checks
read
is there?
their name and
About-
that's about
I
it.
don't know, 12 of them?
12 or 13, how long will that
I
take?
see the dates,
Give me the name, not long.
Can't see who.
Well, I need the name then. I need something on there other than what I have, because you can't read that, and that's not a public record.
But
And all she needs is who it's to, because the rest of it's there.
Correct.
right.
Yeah, that's what I need is who it's to.
All right.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
you're welcome. At this point, we are done. We are making a motion to adjourn at 7:56.
Y'all
Thank you.
Yeah, so I can watch this debate.